Hello, I'm Ross from Britain's Hidden History, and I'll be diving in doing a little bit the deep end, doing videos on extracts from this book that you see there, Artorius Rex Discovered by Wilson and Blackett. And I realised I should actually do an overview of the book first. Not an in-depth review. Like I said, every few pages is a discussion point, and there's a whole series of videos which you can see in the playlist with this video. But if you've never seen the book, you got a picture there. Because it's a remarkable book. I mean, it's great introduction to so many subjects, and it covers so much without enormous depth. For that, sometimes you have to get the other books to follow up. I mean, how much can you squeeze into a book? This is almost 300 pages, and it's jammed with information. As I say to people, barely a week goes by without me picking it up and looking at it. And in many ways, it's and finding something in there, to check something or look up something new. And one of the first things that strikes you, look at the overall book, is it was published, first of all, by the way, 1981. It was printed in 1985. So, I mean, this book is 35 to 40 years old. So, and when you look at the pictures, not only do you see how much younger, obviously, Wilson and Blackett were, and virile and optimism, you see they had so many plans going on. Like you'll notice on page 3, there is Pendragon Tours. They were really trying to kickstart some sort of Welsh tourism effort, because the 80s were a terrible time with all the cutbacks and recessions and the mines closing and all that kind of thing. And this is Clayton Jones, who actually ran the tours from Pontypridd, and he ran Clayton's buses, which used to drive me to school every day. So he's an amazing entrepreneur. All that pretty much got crushed. All right. Not to dwell too much on that right now, but it does. Some of the pictures are quite poignant. So I'll just overview the book anyway. Well, first of all, the style of the book, the writing is great. This book is more professional than the other books. It's got a real professional look. It's hardback. Like I said, it's almost 300 pages. What are we looking at? 295. It's beautifully produced, jammed with pictures, maps, diagrams. Now, the main subject areas, the first one, which I'm dealing with in videos already, is called A Brief Outline of the Arthurian Dynasty. Which doesn't really do it justice in a way, because what it does, it goes all the way back to looking at them, as you've seen, the clash with the Romans, and this idea that Britain was overrun by Romans and run by Romans for 400 years, and what nonsense that is when you look at it closely. It does not stand up to scrutiny. The Romans barely got a toehold in the south of England, and they probably got a toehold in the south of Wales, near Caerleon. And in Wales, they estimate they were there for a matter of decades, not centuries, and they never got far into the hinterland of Wales or England, the sort of holding forts. And observations would be at Caerleon would seem to have been a trading port, probably, something like that. And more importantly, that due to their failure militarily to break into Britain and all those amazing resources, iron, copper, coal, lime, tin, whatever you wanted was in Britain. Must be one of the richest countries in the world. They made agreements and deals and negotiated. So a lot of the stuff you see in Britain built Roman style rather than by the Romans. So the next one then is the court and fortress system, which I'll also do more videos on. One of my favourite subjects. It shows you the strategic way in which South Wales was defended. I did do a video a long time ago, a couple of years ago. I'll do an updated one though. So what you find is this spoken wheel system whereby the Wales is divided up into areas, or South Wales, Glamorgan and Gwent, and you'll have a central hub in the middle, and then forts around the edge of this wheel, if you like, guarding the crucial points, the crossing points of the rivers, the valleys, that kind of thing. How they defended the open areas to the east of Cardiff towards Newport. And these forts can still be seen. They're still there. And how the coastline was defended. Most of those are still there. A couple have been obviously flattened, like Aberthaw power station being on top of one. So that's a really interesting chapter in itself. And it's worth a book by itself, because you can visit all these places. And if you look in the videos, visits to the sites, you'll see, try to be as many as possible. Things slowing down with this COVID thing, but we'll try and get some more when that's all possible. Then part 4, the struggle for the throne, and that's really getting into the famous King Arthur. When people talk about King Arthur, this is the one they're really referring to, because there was an Arthur the First back in the 4th century who was part of the invasion of Gaul, and when Britain was an alternative empire to the Romans, if you like. That's another story by itself. Then Arthur II, who's 6 generations later, son of Myrig, and you can see the burial place of Myrig, his father, and then you've got his grandfather, who died. Obviously, he's got Mathen named after him, at the place of the king, and then Tithfelt and all these people. Okay, so that goes through that, and the struggle for the throne, the falling out with Mudrad, that kind of thing. Now, what we have then is the search for British kings and saints, which is one of my favourite chapters in the book. And what we're looking then is you can find who these people historically were, like Gilda, Cinyron, and then the search the old British kings. And it's explained in here that the definition of a saint was slightly different to the one we have in our mind. We tend to think of St. Francis doing good things and playing with the birds, and this life of this penniless existence, he ends up becoming sainted for being such a decent bloke. A bit different in those days. For a start, the saints were part of the royal family. They all had royal genealogies, and it's all tied in with the politics of the time, which is why in South Wales you have so many places with the name Saint after them. One of the ways you became a saint was to bequeath land on your death for you to be buried in, and if you bequeath the money for a church as well, then you are rushed straight through to heaven, right? Life is good for you. So then you get a place name named after you. It's all over the place around here. St. Fagin, St. this, St. that. I'm sure you know the names. Okay, so then we got where the other kings lie, and this is just tracking them all down, really. And some to Brittany, and a lot the kings went to Cornwall, because Cornwall and Wales part of the same empire in those days, as was Strathclyde and Western Scotland, and the links to Brittany or Armorica. So some of them moved around, some end up in Cornwall, some end up in Brittany. And it's a fascinating read. It's not just about Wales, this book. Right, then the final evaluation. And one of the things I will try and show these pictures again, but what's a bit worrying is that also the campaigns of King Arthur are in there as well, who he fought against. That's the struggle for the throne. How his campaigns went to Scotland, why so many of the battlefields were in Scotland, because there is this all the wars of King Arthur are also in part 3. Sorry, did I mention the wars of King Arthur? I think I skipped that. I beg your pardon. Part 3 is the wars of King Arthur, and you can trace his campaign around Scotland, and then also in Wales you can see where Baden is. Again, visits the sites. We've been to Baden a couple of times. You can see exactly where the battles were, where the burial mounds are, where the ramparts still are, and the place is called Baden. I mean, it's like Camlan. There's this big mystery over where Camlan is, and you go up to mid Wales, just south of Dalgleish. There's a place called Camlan. That's it, and you can still see the battlements and the mounds. And if you read the story here, you can see the logic of why they ended up fighting a battle where they did. So I was trying to find the pictures. Yeah, this I find one of the most depressing areas, which I will be making a video on soon. Is all around Lodge Hill. I'll scan these pictures in. You can see a lot of the things they show in here as sites of fields and the hill. Excuse me, things are dry today. And these are the views similar to one you see my video from Lodge Hill. Similar view to that, but you won't get views like that anymore because a lot of this is now housing. And at the time, you can see in the book there that there was plans to actually build over the whole of the hill, right over the top. But Alan Wilson wrote letters to the Secretary of State with Barham. They put Camp Clayton. There we are. Look at that hill. That's all houses. Yeah, so thank goodness they saved the top of it. So you can still see the area where King Arthur's court was. I mean, what a travesty. You got the court of King Arthur. I mean, it's referred to in all the ancient documents, not just Welsh ones, Anglo-Saxon chronicles, the Mabinogi, the historical things. They all interact, and Caerleon's always the centre. And rather sillily, archaeologists and historians always assume, oh, he must have reoccupied the Roman buildings. No, he's up on the hill where you can control. And one of the big clues it mentions in, I think it's the Mabinogi, that you could see the Malpass, which is now a region of Newport, and is a part where you can cross the Severn. The Wye. Anyway, the point is you can see it from the top of what's now called Lodge Hill. So have a look at that. It's a bit depressing to see that. Yeah, here's about the... I want to say something about, just to give a little idea, the fort systems, how the maps work. You can see them all worked out. And then you see, I'm going to get children who disturb me in a second. So Camelot, for example, is one hub, and all around that you'll see the forts covering the crossings from sort of the east from England, from Gwent, and down the valleys and across the key rivers. And then there'll be another hub called Pentramaerig, which is more in the Vale of Glamorgan, and that'll be, you'll see the forts on the coast where there aren't natural cliffs protecting, and you see all these. It's fascinating. And I will be doing more on that, and I recommend the book, obviously. And yeah, and then I don't know, it's just got proper references and bibliography at the back, loads of photos. And other things you see on here are, this is the St. Peter's Church. Oh, you can't see it, thank goodness. And rather disturbingly, you will notice that hardly any, well, not hardly any, there's still a fair amount left, but an awful lot has gone. As Alan Wilson said, and I visited him, it was probably about a year ago, and I showed him an up-to-date video I'd made, going up Mount of the Gare and showing him St. Peter's and all that. And he was saying, the church is disappearing. And it is, because we can't seem to do much to protect it. We'll try. If you've got ideas, please put them forward. Luckily, because of Wilson and Blackett, we still have a bit of Arthur's court left in Camelot. And all over Wales, you'll see these fantastic sites. You've got, the birth of Western Christianity. You've got the Arthurian stories. You've got the earlier stuff. You've even got the complete other tale of fortune not in these books, about Ark of the Covenant being here and the cross and all. It's just tons. And absolutely nothing is done to promote it. And I get more and more wound up, really, when I look at, I see there's the thing called Robin Hood Airport. It's an airport, and there's a whole industry around Robin Hood. Go to Nottingham. Museums, all sorts, and it's just a rumour, it could be anybody. There's a dozen claimants to being Robin Hood. Might just be a nickname. Like there's loads of Dick Whittingtons. Anyone put the cape in a horse and held people up became a Dick Whittington. But no, museums, the whole lot. Glastonbury's a well-known fraud, and yet that's a multi-million-pound industry, and it's still promoted, still shown on TV. Everyone knows it's a fraud. It doesn't make any difference. But the places that you got in South Wales, with bona fide historical records, the place names, the whole match, some of the best stories in the world. The story of Christianity, the story of Arthur, and lots of other things as well. So there we are. Just, I don't know what we do. Please, if you've got any ideas to try and get some more protection on some of these sites, and let's promote them. Let's promote them as great places to go. And please follow me as I do more of the videos, and you can buy the book from cymroglyphics.com. They are all first editions, so grab them while they're still around. And so until the next time, peace. Hello.